Hello everybody, this is Refresh, and I am here to bring you a battle between two Amonkhet Planeswalker decks. Over here we have Gideon, and over there we have Liliana. We'll be playing the best of 3, and we will begin with a roll to see who goes first. Gideon gets a 9. Liliana also gets a 9. Gideon gets a 4. Liliana gets a 5, and she will opt to be on the play. We'll draw a 7. Liliana draws a giant spider, a tattered mummy, a trial of ambition, a forest, a splendid agony, a swamp, and a foul orchard that looks like it is worth starting with, so we'll go ahead and keep this hand. Gideon draws a mountain, a stone quarry, a mountain, a plains, a cartouche of zeal, a mountain, and a Gideon's resolve. There are no threats here, and so I don't believe Gideon can keep this hand. We'll go ahead and mulligan and go for 6. For 6, Gideon has an Amonkhet Crasher, a Plains, a Glory-Bound Initiate, a Stone Quarry, a Top Crop Elite, and an Amonkhet Crasher. This isn't great because of the shortness of lands, but if we can get another land, it will be pretty good, so we'll go ahead and keep this hand. We're going to scry, and we'll keep the mountain right there. Liliana plays a Foul Orchard tapped, and Liliana will pass turn. Gideon will draw. Gideon draws a mountain. Gideon will play a Stone Quarry tapped, and Gideon will pass turn. Liliana untaps. Liliana draws. She draws a swamp. We'll play a swamp, and then we will tap the Foul Orchard for green, the swamp for black, and we will play the Tattered Mummy, and then Liliana will pass turn. Gideon will untap. Gideon will draw. Gideon draws another Amonkhet Crasher. Gideon will play a Plains. Gideon will tap the Stone Quarry for white and the Plains for white, and will play a Glory-Bound Initiate, and then Gideon will pass turn. Liliana will untap. Liliana will draw. She draws another swamp. She'll play a swamp, and then Liliana will tap both of the swamps and play the Trial of Ambition. When Trial of Ambition enters the battlefield, target opponent sacrifices a creature. Gideon sacrifices the Glory-Bound Initiate. Liliana attacks with the Tattered Mummy. Gideon offers no blocks, takes 1, and goes to 19. Liliana passes turn. Gideon untaps. Gideon draws a Hazoret's Favor. Gideon will play a mountain. Gideon will tap the Plains, the Stone Quarry for red, and the mountain to play an Amonkhet Crasher. It has haste, so it can attack immediately, and Gideon will tap the Amonkhet Crasher to attack. Liliana can't block, will take 3 and go to 17. Gideon will pass turn. Liliana untaps. Liliana draws. Liliana plays a forest. Liliana will attack with the Tattered Mummy. Gideon offers no blocks, takes 1, and goes to 18. Liliana taps the Foul Orchard for green, the 2 swamps, and the forest, and plays a giant spider. And Liliana passes turn. Gideon untaps. Gideon draws a Trial of Zeal. Gideon taps out, and Gideon plays another Amonkhet Crasher. It has haste. Gideon will attack with both Amonkhet Crashers, exerting this Amonkhet Crasher so that the giant spider cannot block this turn. Liliana can't block, so she will take 6 damage and go to 11. Gideon passes turn. Liliana untaps. Liliana draws. Liliana plays a forest. Liliana will attack with the giant spider and the Tattered Mummy. Gideon cannot block, will take 3 and go to 15. Liliana will tap and play the Decimator Beetle. When Decimator Beetle enters the battlefield, put a -1/-1 counter on a target creature you control. We'll put the -1/-1 counter on the Tattered Mummy, and then Liliana will pass turn. Gideon then taps. The Amonkhet Crasher is no longer exerted. Gideon will draw. Gideon will tap out. Gideon will play an Amonkhet Crasher. Gideon will attack with both Amonkhet Crashers, exerting this one to make it so that the Decimator Beetle cannot block. Liliana cannot block, will take 6 and go to 5, and Gideon passes turn. Liliana untaps. Liliana draws. Liliana draws a Baleful Ammit. Liliana will attack with the Decimator Beetle, and Decimator Beetle's text says, whenever Decimator Beetle attacks, remove a -1/-1 counter from a target creature you control and put a -1/-1 counter on up to one target creature defending player controls. We'll take the -1/-1 counter from the Tattered Mummy and put it on an unexerted on Crop Crasher. Gideon cannot block and will take 4, going to 11. Liliana will play a swamp. Liliana will pay 3 mana and play a Baleful Ammit. When Baleful Ammit enters the battlefield, put a -1/-1 counter on target creature you control. Put a -1/-1 on the Tattered Mummy, and then Liliana will pass turn. Gideon untaps. Gideon draws. Gideon will attack with both on-crop crashers, exerting them both so that the giant spider and the Baleful Ammit cannot block. In response to the attack trigger, Liliana will tap all of her mana and will play Splendid Agony, distributing 2 -1/-1 counters on one of the attacking on-crop crashers. The on-crop crasher dies. Liliana will block the remaining on-crop crasher with the Tattered Mummy. The Tattered Mummy will die. When Tattered Mummy dies, each opponent loses 2 life. Gideon loses 2 life and goes to 9. Gideon will tap the plains and the mountain and will play a Gustwalker, and Gideon will pass turn. Liliana untaps. Liliana draws. Liliana will attack with the Baleful Ammit. Gideon opts not to block, will take 4 and go to 5. Liliana gains 4 life from the lifelink and goes up to 9. And Liliana will pass turn. Gideon untaps. The on-crop crasher is no longer exerted. Gideon draws. Gideon taps out. Gideon plays a Graceful Cat, and Gideon passes turn. Liliana untaps. Liliana draws. Liliana will play a swamp. Liliana will attack with the Baleful Ammit. Gideon will not block and will go to 1. Liliana gains 4 life and goes up to 13. And Liliana will pass turn. Gideon untaps. Gideon draws. Gideon plays a Stone Quarry tapped. Gideon will attack with both on-crop crashers, exerting them so that the Giant Spider and the Decimator Beetle can't block. Will attack with the Gustwalker and the Graceful Cat. Liliana can't block and will take 10 damage to go to 3. On the second main phase, Gideon will tap and play the Trial of Zeal. When Trial of Zeal enters the battlefield, it deals 3 damage to target creature or player. Gideon will direct the 3 damage to Liliana. Liliana has no response, takes 3 damage, and dies. The first game goes to Gideon. We'll be right back with Game 2. Game 2, Liliana will be on the play. She'll draw 7. Liliana draws a Tattered Mummy, Liliana Deathwielder, Baleful Ammit, Cartouche of Ambition, Foul Orchard, Trial of Ambition, and Decimator Beetle. There are not enough lands here, so we'll go ahead and ship this. Liliana will draw 6. Liliana draws a Foul Orchard, a Desiccated Naga, a Decimator Beetle, a Tattered Mummy, and the Channeler Initiate. That is still pretty short, but the Channeler Initiate can add mana, and so if we can scry into a land, we might still have to keep this just to not lose too much card advantage. We'll scry. That is a land. We'll go ahead and keep that. Gideon draws 7. Gideon draws a mountain, a Stone Quarry, Gideon's Resolve, Plains, Graceful Cat, Trial of Zeal, and Gideon Martial Paragon. This is a bit of a slower hand, but we're going to go ahead and keep this. Liliana begins, playing a Foul Orchard tapped. Gideon draws. Gideon draws a Cartouche of Zeal. Gideon plays a Stone Quarry tapped, and Gideon passes turn. Liliana untaps. Liliana draws. Liliana plays her Forest. Liliana will tap the Foul Orchard and the Forest for green, and will play a Channeler Initiate. When Channeler Initiate enters the battlefield, put 3 -1/-1 counters on target creature you control. It's the only creature it controls, so we'll put 3 -1/-1 counters on it. And Liliana passes turn. Gideon untaps. Gideon draws. Gideon draws a Honored Crop Captain. Gideon will play a Plains. Gideon will tap the Stone Quarry for red and the Plains for white, and will play the Honored Cropped Captain. And Gideon will pass turn. Liliana untaps. Liliana draws. Liliana will tap the Foul Orchard for black, the Forest, and will tap and use the Channeler Initiate ability to remove a -1/-1 counter to add 1 mana of any color to our mana pool, taking it to 2, and tapping for black. And then Liliana will play a Baleful Ammit. Baleful Ammit says when Baleful Ammit enters the battlefield, put a -1/-1 counter on target creature you control. We'll put the -1/-1 counter on the Channeler Initiate, taking it back to 3 -1/-1 counters, and Liliana will pass turn. Gideon untaps. Gideon draws. Gideon plays a mountain. Gideon taps the Stone Quarry, the Plains, and the Mountain for a Trial of Zeal. When Trial of Zeal enters the battlefield, it deals 3 damage to target creature or player. It will target the Baleful Amulet. The Baleful Amulet dies. Gideon will attack with the Honored Crop Captain for 3. Liliana cannot block, will take 3 and go to 17. Gideon passes turn. Liliana untaps. Liliana draws. She draws a Tattered Mummy. Liliana taps the Foul Orchard, the Forest, and taps a Channel Initiate using its ability to remove a -1/-1 counter to add 1 mana of any color to the pool. It'll be black. Liliana will play a Desiccated Naga, and Liliana will pass turn. Gideon untaps. Gideon draws. Gideon plays a mountain. Gideon will tap both mountains and the plains to play a Graceful Cat. And then Gideon will tap the Stone Quarry for red and play a Cartouche of Zeal on the Graceful Cat. When Cartouche of Zeal enters the battlefield, target creature cannot block this turn. It will target the Desiccated Naga. Enchanted creature will get +1/+1 in haste, so it is a 3/3 haste. When a Cartouche enters the battlefield under your control, return a Trial of Zeal to its owner's hand. Trial of Zeal will return to Gideon's hand. And then Gideon will attack with the Honored Crop Captain and the Graceful Cat. Whenever Graceful Cat attacks, it gets +1/+1 till end of turn, so it is a 4/4. Whenever Honored Crop Captain attacks, other attacking creatures get +1/+0 until end of turn, so it is a 5/4, and Honored Captain is a 3/2. Liliana cannot block and will take 8 damage to go to 9. Gideon passes turn. Liliana untaps. Liliana draws. Liliana plays a Forest. Liliana will tap the Foul Orchard for black and a Forest to play a Tattered Mummy. Liliana will tap the Forest and will tap the Channel Initiate, removing a -1/-1 counter for black mana, and will play another Tattered Mummy. And Liliana will pass turn. Gideon untaps. Gideon draws. Gideon will tap 3 mana and play the Trial of Zeal. When Trial of Zeal enters the battlefield, it deals 3 damage to target creature or player. It will target the Desiccated Naga. Liliana loses the Desiccated Naga. Gideon will attack with the Honored Crop Captain and the Graceful Cat. Whenever Graceful Cat attacks, it gains +1/+1 until end of turn, so it's attacking as a 4/4. Because of the Honored Crop Captain, it will actually attack as a 5/4 again. Liliana will double block the Honored Crop Captain, losing 1 Tattered Mummy and taking 5 damage to go to 4. When Tattered Mummy dies, each opponent loses 2 life. Gideon loses the Honored Crop Captain and 2 life to go to 18, and Gideon will pass turn. Liliana untaps. Liliana draws. Liliana plays a Forest. Liliana will tap the Foul Orchard, the 3 Forests, and the Channel Initiate, removing the -1/-1 counter for black mana. And will play a Decimeter Beetle. When Decimeter Beetle enters the battlefield, put a -1/-1 counter on target creature you control. It'll be put on the Channeler Initiate. And Liliana will pass turn. Gideon untaps. Gideon draws. Gideon plays a Stone Quarry tapped. Gideon will tap the 2 mountains and the plains and play a Companion of the Trials. And Gideon will pass turn. Liliana untaps. Liliana draws. Liliana will tap the Foul Orchard for black, the 3 Forests, and the Channel Initiate, removing the -1/-1 counter for black. Liliana will play a Decimeter Beetle. When Decimeter Beetle enters the battlefield, we'll put a -1/-1 counter on target creature control. It'll be on the Channeler Initiate, and Liliana will pass turn. Gideon untaps. Gideon draws. Gideon taps everything. Gideon will play Gideon, Martial Paragon. It enters the battlefield with 5 loyalty counters. Gideon will +2 it to 7. Untap all creatures you control. Those creatures get +1/+1 until end of turn. Gideon will attack with the 3/3 flying Companion of the Trials. Liliana cannot block. Will take 3 and go to 1. Gideon will pass turn. Liliana untaps. Liliana draws. She gets a Foul Orchard. She'll play the Foul Orchard. Liliana will tap a Foul Orchard and a Forest to play a Dune Beetle, and Liliana will pass turn. Gideon untaps. Gideon draws. Gideon will +2 himself to untap all creatures and give it +1/+1 until end of turn. Companion of the Trials gets +1/+1 to go to a 3/3 and will attack with the Companion of the Trials. Liliana cannot block, will take 3 and perish. And that will be the game. Gideon defeats Liliana 2-0 in straight sets. Seems like the aggressive deck sort of has an advantage and Liliana is not quite able to stabilize. Let me know if your experience with these Planeswalker decks has been different in the comments below. If I made any play errors or rules mistakes, let me know in the comments below as well. I'll try to play these better in the future. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. If you'd like to see more such videos, hit subscribe. This is Refresh. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time when I bring these two decks against the Face the Hydra challenge deck from Theros.